everyone, and thank you for joining us yet again for an episode of That's Solo Life, the podcast for PR pros and marketers who work for themselves. And we are so glad you're here with us today because it is, shall we say it together, Karen? It's our 100th
100th
episode.
There's virtual confetti.
Yeah, picture confetti coming down.
Confetti. Neither of us wanted to clean up confetti, so it's the spirit of confetti.
That's right. I was going to buy balloons for the YouTube, and then, the day happened, and I went, eh. It was enough to get here.
It was enough to get here. My mission today was don't pass out, don't throw up.
Oh,
try not to come off of this broadcast.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I know you haven't been feeling well, and but that's what we do as PR pros. We power through.
We do,
whether we should or not. But we thought today, it's episode 100, which is pretty darn exciting. I mean, I know I kept telling Karen, we can skip a week. It's not a big deal. We can skip a week, but we've been doing this for 100 straight weeks. Sometimes we double up on episodes, but that's pretty wild.
It is 100 episodes. And it went by so fast.
It did.
And we are still having the best time ever.
Yes.
And, thank you, Chip Griffin. It's a lot of fun, and we love hearing from our listeners so thank you for those that share with us, what the podcast means to you. And we hope to just keep getting better and bringing you better content. And we've got some fun stuff coming up in the months ahead with some great guests. So we're excited about that. But today, it's all about the milestone and doing a little bit of a look back, right, Michelle?
Yes, indeedy. Yeah, we thought, let's look at our statistics. As you know, we host our show on Podbean, and they do a wonderful job of giving us show stats. So we thought we'd just do a quick look back at the top 10 most downloaded episodes within the past year as I get my Casey Kasem on. Does anyone have a long distance dedication? Sorry. When I was younger, my dream was to grow up to work at WKRP in Cincinnati. So I apologize in advance if some of you are thinking, don't live that out
here. You would have been great at it, Michelle.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Right after Dr. Johnny Fever. Anyway, so coming in at number 10 was episode number 86, which was Wikipedia for Business in 2021 with Josh Greene, which was such a fun episode. And, who knew that Wikipedia was the second most visited website in the U.S.? Josh Greene knew. That's who.
Yeah. And we love Josh Greene. Josh is one of our Solo PR Pro tribe members, and he is so knowledgeable about Wikipedia. And so if you have not had the opportunity to listen to that episode, he also did a webinar for us on Wikipedia that goes into a lot of great detail about the inner workings. It's funny because you think, Wikipedia has been around for a while now and you think you know everything, but invariably it comes up with a client that either wants to get something changed on their Wikipedia page or they wonder why they don't have a Wikipedia page. I know for myself, whenever I'm searching for things, usually Wikipedia does come up. So it is, it's a great tool to have, but it's one that if you try to go into those editing waters all on your own, you could get into a lot of trouble and you could get your clients' pages taken down. So it really does require some expertise. Yes. So that was a good episode because it's not a topic that we talk a lot about, but there's always somebody looking for a Wikipedia expert and knowing, how to advise clients and what to say and when you can, dig in and do something yourself and when it's better to bring in an expert. It was really helpful.
And, if you're wondering about this for yourself, please do pick up his book that came out this year, Wikipedia for Business 2021, The Rules and Latest Developments That Businesses and Communicators Need to Know to Succeed. It'll have everything you need to either get started or get in there. Coming in at number 9 was episode number 81 from back in January. Are you ready to propose? And no, we're not talking about The Bachelor. That episode we talked about, what do you include in your proposal? What should you include? It's funny, this week I got a request for an RFP, and I know how in our solo PR pro world where you say that word and we all kind of go, shh.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
looked at all the requirements, and for what it was, you weigh the pros and cons and you think, I'm not putting in all that work for this. So
Yeah.
Godspeed, whoever would like to reply to that. That's great. But, that's just me in this moment. But yeah, that was a nice time where we talked about, just think about what you should put in, what you don't need to, and everyone's going to have a
And,
different
I
point of
mean,
view.
I think the most important consideration on proposals, so particularly in the RFP process, is it winnable? Can
Mm,
you actually win this business? Not looking at the RFP and going, "Oh my God, we would be so perfect for this," because
right.
that's different. And yes, that is
Yeah.
definitely a consideration, but can you actually win this business? And that usually means that you still, those inside relationships completely pay off, even in an RFP process. Do you know somebody there? Are they aware of you? Do you have a known brand to them? Because if it's
Hmm.
just like an RFP that's out there in the wild, I tend to ignore those.
Hmm.
Why bother? The time that it takes to respond and do all the requirements and the things that they put in an RFP that don't even really make sense.
Right.
It's just wasted effort. And a lot of times people have already identified who they want to work with, but they either are putting out an RFP because that's part of the culture of how they do business or because they have to. They're required to put it out. But this proposal process talks about mostly those clients that you have developed that relationship with on your own, and now it's time to put your discussion to paper. And so, yeah, check that out. And if you're a Solo PR Pro premium member, we have lots of premium resources around this. We have a whole proposal ebook with proposal forms. It's funny because one of the things that PR pros obsess over is the look. It's not always content. It's like, does my proposal look like everybody else's? Does my report look like everybody else's? Is there something that I'm missing? People are always freaking out about the design element, and it's
Yeah.
the least important thing in your proposal.
It could be Times Roman on a white page. It's okay.
Really entirely could be. People really do care about, the content of it. Now, doesn't mean that you shouldn't, add a little design sometimes. And you'll know those clients sometimes, is especially if they're coming from, the larger agency world, or they're looking at
Right.
larger agencies. Sometimes you've got to add a little sizzle to the steak, but don't neglect the steak.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Coming in at number 8 is episode number 89, Too Many Words. It's like, what was
Wait,
it?
did
Like
I did I come up with that title?
I we were having a
That
moment, I
sounds like
think.
something I say every day.
I say it in my head a lot. Yeah, it's like Coco Chanel and accessories. Put all your accessories on and then remove one. Same thing with your copywriting. Revisit that stuff. I love doing that because I'm a
Yeah.
weirdo and a nerd. You write something or you edit something and then, give yourself a few hours or a day and then go back to it. I know I've disgusted myself recently of, I could take that out, slice that up. And yeah.
Yeah. I used to say it in my head and now I just say it out loud because COVID, you go through a global pandemic and the things that used to live in your head only just spit out your mouth. And so I say
Sure.
it to people. I say it to some of my contractors, like, I didn't read this because it's too many words. Just, can you bottom line it? Excuse me. And unfortunately, it's true. Like, I
Yeah.
have noticed that I completely zone out when you are sending me 3 paragraphs and I
Oh,
really
yes.
needed a sentence. I'm not even
Yes.
going to weed through it to get it's just like it's too much. And
Yeah.
part of that is that I think we're all inundated right now with information from so many places.
Mhm.
It's
I
not that I don't love to read. I love to read books. I love to read long form articles that are
Right.
informative. I do not love to read 3-page emails or, too many paragraphs in a Slack message or a text message. Just
Get to the
succinct
point.
people.
Get in, make your point,
Get to it.
get out. That works for everything. Yeah, same. I think I was far more guilty of this earlier in my career because you want to be warm and personable and just make sure, well, here's what we're thinking, blah 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 blah. Blah. Just no, just
Nobody has time for all that. I don't care about what
exactly.
your thought process was. You don't need to show your
Correct.
work in an email. Please don't. I don't need to know what led up to it. Just
Yeah,
get to it.
yeah,
What's happening? And
exactly.
honestly, one of the things that I love that we covered in that episode is not just our, sort of internal communications or client communications, but also in media relations.
Mm,
Succinct is a beautiful thing. Get
yeah,
to the point. You don't need to do all of the fluffy, flowery stuff because
right,
journalists are inundated too, and they're receiving a lot of stuff. You need to just get to the important points. Don't tell them everything. Don't tell them how you got there. Just
right.
get to it. And when you learn the art of a strong, powerful, succinct message, I promise you that it will win every single time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, speaking of winning, there had to be someone who came in first for our next episode. Number 7, which was number 77, PR lessons from the Fraud Street Run with Jeff Lyons.
Oh, yeah, that was
Yeah.
great.
That was so much fun. Jeff Lyons is the co-host of the Junk Miles with Chip and Jeff. It's a running podcast, and they were inspired by that little event that time at that landscaping place, not the hotel.
Yeah.
That that inspired actually a charity run which raised thousands of dollars for local food banks. I think you might remember a little press conference that happened at Four Seasons Total Landscaping, which may or may not have been meant to happen at Four Seasons Hotel in Philly. So these guys thought, let's have some fun with this. So,
Yeah.
if anyone saw the SNL Murder Dirter skit this week, we don't take ourselves too seriously in this neck of the woods. So,
I love that
so
episode. I love learning the lessons and how they leaned into this cultural
yeah,
moment and turned
yeah,
it into this beautiful thing that benefited so many people
yeah.
and how it really came organically. And then of course, we're pretty fond of anybody that is a chip with a podcast. A guy named Chip with a podcast, we're all in. And so even
That's
though we
right.
didn't talk to Chip, we talked to Jeff, but Jeff and
That's
Chip
right.
have a podcast together and we love people named Chip. Chip. Chip.
You should definitely check that out. And I think our other buddy Chip's coming up here. No, so please, if you're a runner, if you're not a runner, please give them a listen.
Yeah.
Number 6, episode 84, client prospecting by building relationships. I think this is definitely one of the bigger threads in the tapestry of our podcast is relationship, relationship, relationship. And they say you're only as good as your network, and yes, that's true.
Yeah.
So, meet new people, ask for the introduction, introduce yourself. I think we just talked about that last week or the week before. And there's no harm in that.
And genuinely nurture relationships.
Mhm.
Again, I cannot say this enough. When you put people first, you don't need all of the technical expertise, whether you are, communicating via social media channels, via email or in-person networking. If you are always focused on the end result, the outcome, and what people can do for you, you will miss out. And you will have to work a lot harder to get the same results. But when you are really focused on people and the value that you can bring to them, and be in that moment to build genuine relationships, it'll change your stress level and anxiety about business development, but
Mhm.
it also, you're creating relationships that are sustained. And when people see that you really are genuinely interested in them and that you really are seeking to deliver value to people, even if they don't use your services, they'll refer you.
Right.
And, how many of us have those great relationships with clients that change companies and wherever they go, they want to bring you in.
Mhm.
and they refer other business to you. I mean, for
Yeah,
solo PR pros, we know from statistics that referrals are really a primary source of business that comes through relationships.
absolutely, absolutely. And even, I think we are helpers at heart, those of us in this business. And, even if you can connect people that can help each other, I always find that's fun of, oh, I have the perfect person for this. You're going to
Yeah.
love working together, and
Yeah.
of course you get that nice afterglow of fondness of thought about
Yeah.
you, which is always nice. Well, okay. So that brings us to number 5, which is PR is not a popularity contest. So don't get too hooked on that feeling.
That was one of our most recent ones,
Yeah,
right?
about October of 2020, we talked about, that Fleetwood Mac skater guy, Nathan Apodaca, when he posted himself
Yeah.
skateboarding to Dreams with an ocean spray, and then of course everyone had their take on it, and those moments are wonderful, but then they also lead your clients to say, "Do that for us." You
Right.
think, uh,
We need the TikTok thing. Can you do that
yeah,
TikTok thing for us?
yeah. Can we do that thing? Why can't we do that? It's like, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. I guarantee you. Nathan, when he did that, didn't have representation.
Yeah. Now he does, and he's doing all kinds of cool things, but he didn't. And here's the more important thing I think is that
Yeah,
when he started doing it, it wasn't to even get there.
thank you. Exactly. He was just having fun. And
Yeah.
everyone kind of, so, there's a lesson in that too, right? So if you're trying to engage an audience, think about what will your audience rally around? What
Yeah.
will, you know, pique their interest or make them take a look at you. That's a great takeaway from that notion. But, going viral,
Yeah.
if you could go viral by design, we'd all be doing it. And then
We'd all be doing it.
it wouldn't be
Yeah.
special anymore either. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Number 4, another fun guest. Number 4 was episode 88, Winfluence with Jason Falls. Yay!
Nathan.
Jason's
We love
an
Jason Falls around these parts.
yes, he's an amazing digital strategist, and he joined us to talk about his third book, Winfluence, which it takes a look at the world of influencer marketing and, how, as he always is, to be smart about it. It's not the trite, trendy stuff. You still have to be smart about it. How are you going to be effective? And I highly recommend reading his book and just engaging with him. He's very active on social and his blogs, and he's just a great resource, and he's fun.
He is a lot of fun. And he is the book, Winfluence, is so well researched and so well done. So if you have not picked up a copy, definitely pick up a copy and follow Jason because he's a kick and
Yeah.
he's having a good time,
Right.
but he's also doing what he really is supposed to be doing. He is an
Mhm.
expert, but he is not a big-headed, arrogant jerk like some experts are. So he doesn't take himself too seriously, but he loves his work, and that's
Yeah,
clear. And he's really good at it. So, follow him on social media channels, follow him on his Amazon for live events, and definitely pick up the book because it'll kind of change your perspective about influencer marketing. But also, it's a good tool that you can then, as your perspective shifts and as you dig into it a little bit more, I really believe that it equips you to have better conversations with clients and to lead their efforts in a smarter way.
agree. Wow, we're up to the top 3, and actually our top 4 were all fabulous guests, so this is gonna be really fun. Number 3, we did a little foreshadowing here with how we love people named Chip who have podcasts. Number 83 was Now What? Business Development in 2021 with Chip Griffin of the Small Agency Growth Alliance. Woohoo! So
Yay!
we're refusing to allow 2021 to be 2022.0. Our friend Chip Griffin, who has successfully coached many agencies and many solos on how to build their path to success, he joined us for a nice conversation on how to do the same, how to prepare for change, because if this past year and a half has been nothing but change.
Yeah.
But how to be ready. Oh, that's
Yeah.
funny, Chip. Chips in our YouTube comments yucking it. You did, Chip. You edged out Jason Falls for the top 3.
And I expect to hear about this on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll
So,
see.
as you all know, Chip is a dear friend of us, and we feel like, he is definitely part of our solo PR pro community. He does such amazing work for small agency owners. And Saga, he has a show every
Mhm.
single Friday morning. So please follow Chip as well so that you can get the notifications about new shows. Follow him on Twitter. He has a couple of podcasts. He just does a lot and he gives great information. And even if you're a solo and you're looking to really grow your business and really become more of a small agency, then you need to connect with him because he is the real deal. He knows the space and he delivers really balanced information that's really practical, really actionable. And he's one of our favorites. So we are celebrating that one of our favorite people was also one of our best guests. And we'll have him on again. Don't worry. He will
Yeah,
be on the podcast again. We just have to get with him in his schedule because
yeah,
he got lots of great information to share.
that's right. So get ready, Chip. We're coming after you.
Yeah.
Likewise, number 2 was episode number 87. Another wonderful friend of and a fellow solo PR pro is Just Get Started with Cami Heise. And I mean, we could have talked with Cami for hours. She brings such great energy and such great information and inspiration. If you need to reignite your love for what you do, listen to this episode or anything Cami puts out there because she's very active on social. She's always sharing great information. And, the number one takeaway from that episode was don't let perfection stop you from getting started. Don't be afraid. If you have this idea of a way to promote your business or help your clients, just start. It's okay. I think
Yeah.
so many of us think, oh no, it's got to be branded properly and I have to have my editorial calendar built out. And I'm probably talking about myself a lot here too. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, those top 3 slots, super competitive. Cami is fantastic. I would definitely catch the episode, sign up for her newsletter. Her Smart Social Secrets
yes.
newsletter is what my go-to because her and her team like curate all of the things that are going on in the social media space. And it is
Mhm.
for me, I don't know about all of you, but it's really difficult to keep up with
Oh,
absolutely everything that's going on.
right.
So having a newsletter that brings it all together in one place that I, can flip through and go, okay, this is happening and sort of prepare for it is really helpful.
Yeah.
But she's also just a really delightful, smart person and fun to
Yes.
follow. So you can follow her on, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. She does these great videos all the time with lots of information. And she is somebody else that really focuses on people and delivers value. And when she puts out content, she's really like leading you through things. And so,
Yeah.
Chip and Jason and Cami are all people that while they make their living at their expertise, they give out so much
Mhm.
free stuff that it's amazing. And
Yes.
that free stuff is really just, the free stuff is so like, oh my God, this is so good. I want to pay you for this.
Right.
But then what they deliver, if you work with them or consult with them is, think about the depth of that, of what you will really get. And they're just all really great people. So I couldn't be happier that these are the guests that
Yeah.
we've been honored to have on our show because we don't pay our guests.
No, they give us their time and they're so
I
kind to
know.
spend this time with us and because as we've talked about in our early days of the podcast, it's even not so much the time, it's the energy that you have balancing your energy that you give to things. So we are really truly grateful and honored that you have, you know, given your time to us and
Yeah.
they've all said they'd come back again. I think they meant it. I think so.
Yeah. And I love this comment from Chip because it's true. Like, this is the OG social media crowd. Like,
Yes,
we have
it's true.
all been hanging out, like, and I trace it all back to Twitter. Like, so
Yeah.
it's so cool that
Yeah. He
we're
says
still
it's
alive, you guys, and we're still doing great things.
yeah, Chip says it's good to see a strong showing from the OG social media crowd. That's
Love it.
awesome. Well,
Love it.
are we ready for who's number 1?
For one, I don't even
Well,
know. Like I know I have the list, but
it's
after
kind of
talking about these people, who could possibly be
a
Chip, Jason, and Tammy? I really want to know. Who was it?
well, it was a crazy year. So, number 1 was episode number 52, which was talking about money. PPP
PPP
loans and the Solo
and
PR
Solo
Pro
PR Pro.
with
Yeah.
Brent
With Brent
Thompson. He's a
Thompson, who's a
CPA
CPA
with Cannon
with
Capital
Penn
Management
Capital
Group.
Management Group.
He joined us back in June in the early
Yeah.
stages of PPP loans and other life preserver funding opportunities,
Yeah.
and just kind of guided us through. And I have to say, just caveat, he's a client, and he and his company have done a tremendous job having webinar after webinar after webinar, all while shouldering this insane tax season that has never ended, to
Yeah.
just really let people know. So it's a great example of, you know, I'll pull out the cliche. It takes a village. It
Yeah.
really does to be a successful solo, and always building your network and having someone who can advise you financially is golden. And
Yeah. You
yeah,
know
so
what I loved about him is that he spoke to all of us like a real person, and it
yeah,
wasn't dry, like boring, just spreadsheet stuff. It was practical advice that we need to know because
yeah,
throughout this whole pandemic, there have been all of these, grants and loans and
oh,
programs to help small business owners and solos and lots of changes. Are you eligible for unemployment? Just so many things. And there
right,
have been so many things that we've had to deal with. So hearing from an expert who's living it day in and day out was so helpful.
yeah, yeah.
And, we should probably have him back on too,
I
because,
think so.
after tax season,
After May 17th, I
yeah,
don't know
to
how.
just talk about the, things that,
Yeah,
we need to know financially about our businesses, because there have been, so on top of, the pandemic and all of the programs that were put into place, there's been a lot of tax changes too.
yeah, exactly. It's like who knows what 2020's returns will look like. And
Yeah.
you can definitely check him out at canoncapital.com. All of their webinars are in their news section. So if there's, I'm sure, yeah, there's definitely some things that are of use to solos, or if you have employees. I think one of the bells he's been ringing lately is the employee income retention credit, that there
Yeah.
is some major money to be saved if that
Yeah.
applies to your business. So definitely check it out. But yeah, we're really grateful that he took the time out of, his crazy schedule. I don't know. God bless accountants. I don't know how they do it. I mean, I know we work hard and sometimes we work crazy hours, but they really, it's like, do you see your family for 6 months of the time?
Yeah.
How
And
does
I
that
can't even
work?
imagine this year has
Oh,
just got to
yeah,
be got
yeah,
to be a lot. So,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, Michelle, I think these top 10 episodes just make me so happy because of the people that landed in the slots and the
yeah.
topics. But I'm even more excited about the next 100
I know,
episodes.
I know. It's funny, just, I was pulling this together. I thought, okay, good, this is great. Now, going through it, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, look at all that happened. And really, yeah, we do it because we like it and it's fun. But ultimately, we hope that everyone who's hearing us right now, we hope it's been helpful to you, because I think that's one of the major themes of our professional lives. I think I can speak for Karen is, be helpful. And that's the goal of this. That's the goal of Solo PR Pro. If you are a solo or even a small business, there is information to be held for you there at soloprpro.com. It is so well worth the membership. The resources are rich. And so if any of these episodes have even been a slight help to you, please do go check out the website. And yeah, we're gonna both take a little 2-minute power nap and get ready for episodes 101 through 200.
There you go.
So until next time, thanks for listening to That Solo Life.